Hey everybody, welcome to Salt Project Community Open Hour can everybody see the screen here? You can all see it? Yeah, it looks like you
Mhm.
can. Okay, great. Salt Project Community Open Hour for January 18th, 2024. The first open hour of the year. And thanks to each and every one of you for being here. It's great to see all of you. I think we've got a pretty good open hour today. Let's get it started. Salt Project, we are everywhere. Here's where you can find us: YouTube, GitHub, Slack, Reddit, LinkedIn. There's the Hacks podcast. Hopefully, you've checked it out, starring one Tom Hatch and some other guy. Also, X, Facebook, Instagram, and others. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things. Of course, we'll do our usuals. With All Reliable, we're going to check our community forums with Thomas Phipps. Thank you, Thomas, in advance. Whoa, what did I do? Something just went horribly wrong. Also, we've got we're changing the working groups a little bit, and this is going to be the first one that we're going to be changing. We're going to have Nick Hughes take a minute to talk to you about that, along with Elisa Rock, and Tom is back, and we're going to try and have him back for the next several open hours as we're kind of revamping some things and going through things post acquisition. And so Tom's been kind enough to hang out an open hour here for a little bit, and then we'll have our community Q&A. So let's get right to it. Salt Project Community Open Hour. We have a new schedule. Open hour. I have every third Thursday. Yeah, that's correct. Every third Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's 11 to noon Mountain time. You can do the math as you work your way east. Our next Salt Project Community Open Hour is going to be on February 15th. I would like to invite all of you to make some Valentine's boxes out of shoe boxes with some tin foil and some construction paper, and we'll be going around desk to here we go. Join a Salt Project working group. We'd like to encourage you to do this. saltproject.io/working groups. We'll talk more about those working groups coming up. Really excited about what Nick and Elisa are doing. Okay, let's get started right off the bat with our good friend Thomas Phipps, checking in with community forums. Thomas, what's happening?
Uh, just a quick one today. Something that gets brought up a lot is people coming in asking about how do I pull the IP out of grains? I mean, it's this list. And 99% of the time, the simplest answer is you don't. Use the network module. It's fast, it's faster, it's easier, way easier. And most of the time they're like, well, I need to pull it by the network ID. It can do that. I need to pull it by the CIDR. It can do that. I need to compare it with a subnet. It can do that. It's way easier and will save you a lot of time thinking about things instead of trying to parse down what's in grains.
Hey, Thomas, I have a question about this. Maybe you can help me out. Why is it that you get so many questions and people asking a similar thing? What is it that you think that drives them to that? And is there something that we can do to change that to help them get to this place easier? Do you know?
I think it's mostly people see that the IPs are in grains, and we don't really talk about the network module at all, except for
I got you. Okay, very good. All right, anything else, Thomas?
no.
That's it. Okay, well, simple enough, quick and easy. Let's move right along. Our good friend Nick Hughes, EITR Technologies. He's a CEO in his own right, you know. Have you checked out EITR Technologies? You might want to go check out their website, right, Nick? Big
Absolutely.
thumbs up from Nick. There
We
we go.
always do whatever Chunga says.
If only that were true. All right, Nick. The time is yours. We're changing our working groups, right? So, Elisa, feel free to hop in here with Nick at any point, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Yeah, so as the slide says, Lisa and I are starting a new working group. It is for salt extensions. And we definitely want some folks to get involved in that. So, the idea being that we're trying to create a home for any community-based extensions, and it's pretty easy to onboard with us. You can reach out a number of different places, including the Slack, and also we have a GitHub organization called Salt-Extensions, and I am Nicholas M. Hughes on both. But we have a community-driven focus on basically taking those existing modules out of Salt and also creating new modules and making them better, being able to iterate faster, and all of the benefits of having extensions. We want to leverage those. This is going to become more important in version 3008.0 because that will be the release which will not include any modules that have been identified as becoming extensions. So this is going to be in an effort to reduce the size of the core and make it more manageable and be able to cut releases out of the core faster. So if any of those extensions are things that that you use, you might want to jump on that and help the cause. We put some feelers out. I'm not sure if it was earlier this week or last week, but we have meetings that we're going to start scheduling, and we were asking for input on any good times or bad times for you. If you have interest in attending them synchronously. We're also looking at asynchronous contribution options. I believe we're going to be enabling GitHub discussions on the Salt extensions org here pretty shortly, and that might have some cool features in it. Lisa and I are going to take a look at that. And as always, check out the Salt Slack. Somebody put a link in the chat. Thank you very much. There is a Salt Extensions channel, so hop on in and chat with us there.
Let's see here. I do have a question. So the docs group, Elisa's docs group, is going to be rolled into this extensions. Is that correct? The extensions working group.
That's correct. So my documentation assignments are changing a little bit here at Broadcom. I'm still supporting SALT, but in order to, I want to maximize the amount of time that I'm spending with the SALT project. And to me, this seems like the best use of my time is to just invest a lot of time and energy into this SALT extensions project. So let me also be clear that while we're rolling the SALT docs into this group, just like with the SALT docs, I'm here to help you with your SALT extensions doc projects. I'm not taking on the documentation for you, but I want to help you succeed, especially if you're feeling nervous about how should I write these docs? How could I make them effective for our community? And so we'll be working on those kinds of things, setting standards for the SALT extensions, working on the tooling aspect of it. And so if you want additional help and support for the documentation part of SALT extensions, that's kind of the role that I'll be playing in this group. So.
Awesome. For those of you who don't know, Elisa is a fantastic teacher and a fantastic mentor. She's been an incredible help to me and so many others. So if you have, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it on YouTube after the fact, if you're struggling, she's definitely the one you want to call with your docs. So, and by call, I mean hit her up on Slack, right? And she'll definitely sort you out and get you going the right way. So exciting stuff. I like the way this is going to flesh out. You know, this is extension such a it's right in the forefront, right? So I'm glad that we're doing this, and I can't think of two better people to be working on this. So again, if you have any questions about the SALT project extensions working group, definitely hit up Nick Hughes, Elisa, or you can get with me directly if you'd like to. All right. Well, thank you to both of you. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Elisa. Now over to Tom Hatch and his corner office. We're making some changes, right, Tom? And these changes are going to be, we're streamlining some things and hopefully making it easier for people.
Yeah, so we introduced a lot of what we're working towards last month and had a great conversation around that. What we have right now is that we've brought out some policy changes around issue and PR management. Those have been posted and implemented. You may have noticed that quite a few issues have recently been closed. Quite a few PRs have recently been closed. Big thanks to Daniel Wozniak for taking care of a lot of the footwork here. And so the goal here, in a nutshell, is that we're going to make sure that the issue list is trimmed down to something that's much more manageable, and is only available for sorry and that we only maintain issues that are relevant to current releases of SALT, and that we no longer have feature requests. Now the policy docs, thank you. Looks like we do have that got posted. A link to that got posted in the chat. They are following in to a large extent a lot of the ways that Red Hat manages things like issues, just so that again we can keep things under control a little bit better. Now the other thing that we're going to be implementing is that we're going to be pulling back on the SEP process. Now, overall, the SALT enhancement proposal process has been one that we've struggled to ever really fully implement. We've had a lot of trouble getting this into a place where we felt that it was really smooth. In the long run, for the most part, I think that it's caused us more problems than it has benefit. And so we're going to be closing down the SEP process. I've got a blog post out that is covering these changes a little bit. That was posted, I believe, yesterday, and talks a little bit about how we need to refocus a lot of our goals. Now, a month ago, we talked about how we were going to be accelerating pulling a large set of modules out of SALT so that we can speed up tests, lower the overall maintenance of the project, and make it easier to iterate on a lot of these modules that we have inside of the platform. Because if they're developed on the outside of SALT, again, we can iterate, we can update them much more quickly, and we can hopefully accelerate SALT development as well. All right, so that's our goal, to have that initial list of modules in the next week, and start working towards those PRs to migrate those modules out into a holding repo as we talked last month. After we take care of that, we're going to go through and we're going to revamp how we look at operating system support. There's a few things inside of SALT with respect to OS support that we should be able to significantly streamline our testing and save a lot when it comes to the overhead there, if we're able to, again, rethink how some of our operating systems are supported and managed. As for the operating systems that virtually everybody uses, of course, those aren't going to be changed, like Red Hat, Debian, Ubuntu. Arch, of course, is a huge Arch fan.
And Windows.
And Windows. Thank you, Shane. I could hear Shane laughing over his desk as I constantly forget to mention Windows and Mac
and Mac.
Yeah, and Mac. Yeah.
Does he actually forget to mention them, or does he just choose not to?
Honestly, I forget because I just don't think about non-Linux operating systems very often.
Yeah.
It's more of I forget that they exist. Like there's some kind of strange annoyance in the world to me. Okay. But yeah, so the main operating systems that 95+% of people use aren't going to be affected. But we do want to figure out ways in which we can, again, streamline our OS support to speed things up. All right, that's really all that I've got, and I'll hand it back. I wasn't planning on, how do I put this? I wasn't planning on taking up as much time as I did last month.
Oh no, it's great to have you here, and I think No better way to get the information out there than from the benevolent dictator for life. You know what I'm saying? It's great. It's great to have you here, Tom. So on that note, it is time for our community Q&A. We obviously intentionally put Tom last, especially when we're talking about changes to SaltProject and the policies, so that we can answer any questions you may have. So first things first, if you have questions that are unrelated to something Tom is talking about here, please don't hesitate. I mean, we're here for any questions you have. That's why we've got so many of the Salt Core team here to help you out. So let's get to it. Who would like to boo? Who's booing? Who's booing? What is booing? Hunter. Yeah. Go ahead, Hunter. Well, you can go first. Hunter, I think you're probably on mute, man. Mike is dead. Oh, Shane, you were booing the Windows comment. Okay, I got you. Well, I'll tell you what, Hunter, work on your mic. Vic is asking, is anyone from the team hanging out on IRC? Every once in a while, someone asks, and it has an outdated Slack joining link. No one has an answer for Vic. Okay.
I think the answer is that nobody is on IRC.
I was tactfully trying not to say that. Was thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
I haven't been to IRC in years.
I got you. Okay. All right. Hunter is now typing since his mic is dead. We're on 3005.6. Which 3006 release should we target? I had heard of issues with custom grains in 3006.
That's actually being fixed in the next one.
Okay. In the next release.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Anyone else? Any other questions? It can't be this easy, you guys.
I have questions for Tom.
Yes.
As far as the list of modules that's going to be cut out and moving to Salt extensions, where should we be looking out for that list to show up?
That's a really good question.
We have a private repository right now with just a list of modules. It's literally a couple text files. I believe we could make that public.
Yeah, and those lists aren't finalized yet. But yeah,
Right.
I see no reason not to make that public. And it'd be fine to get feedback, of course. With that said, I mean, we are of course trying to be we're trying to be aggressive and look for a very legitimate core of modules.
Cool. We'll keep an
I'll
eye
make
out, I
that
guess.
public today, and I'll send you a link on Slack, Nick.
Thank you. If you want to pop it into the Salt Extensions channel, I guess that will give everybody the ability to see it.
Sounds good.
And the other question that I have is in regard to sort of the SEP process going away. I was just reading the policy, and it says that conversations about enhancements can be held in discussions and then also in open hour. Is that going to be the forum for like internal core team enhancement initiatives as well? Mostly thinking about, like, there was a SEP, DWAS, I think it was one that you were that you had in draft, where it was the master architecture change or something like that. Things like that I think are great to have community input in. So I'm just trying to figure out if it's going to be a transparent process like that, where the community can weigh in on internal-ish things.
Yeah, it would be in discussions.
Okay, cool.
Nick, if you don't have anything else, we'll throw it over to Gary, who's got his hand raised. Are you good, or do you have some more that you'd like to talk about?
I'm good. I defer to Gary.
All right, Gary, it's all you, man.
All right. Yeah, I have a few hopefully quick questions. One maybe less quick. The first one was, I was reading through the policy. I was just curious of the specific rationale for closing issues and like opening new issues rather than being able to reopen an existing issue, that would just seem like you would lose some context, or have to switch back and forth. I was just wondering if there was a specific, was that to force people to go through the new templates, or what was kind of the rationale behind that?
Yeah, so that's a couple of things. One of the problems we've had in the past is that we end up with these zombie issues. People just kind of say, still a problem, and reopen it. And if it's closed because it was originally posted against an older release, then the request is that we have some validation information about it against the current release, so that we're able to recalibrate and kind of start over and say, okay, we are still seeing this in this release. This is what it looks like in this release. We also want to, I mean, honestly, also just want to make it so that we need a little more focus around the issue, instead of someone simply saying still an issue and hitting a reopen button. And that also allows us to get a fresh issue, and when that new issue is open, it's a lot easier for us to frankly take it a little more seriously, because again, we've got fresh information, fresh eyes, and fresh and a fresh triage process. And so all of those things hopefully are to help with the process. And I completely agree that it is a little more cumbersome to have to come back and say, well, okay, we've got this issue, and it is a continuation of maybe a couple old issues that we can find more information in. But also it would be nice if we're creating a new issue that is effectively a rebirth of an old issue. It would make a lot of sense if in that summary we were able to kind of say, hey, the important bits are here. Here's what, here's what the total context we need to begin working with today is. Because again, if we've got an issue that's got a mile long of comments, it can be, as we're all very well aware, it can be very difficult to kind of go back through all of that. And so that's all part of the request, is that the reopening of that issue would probably also be a summary. And we should probably make a note that we should add that to the policy doc, that when issues are reopened, if they are if it's a creation of an issue with references to older issues, that that we've got links not just to the old issues, but that we have a summary of what's going on.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, that was pretty straightforward one, and I don't have any big objections to that. The one on a read through the policy, and maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but it looked like any changes to existing modules that may not necessarily have tests, it looks like you're now requiring contributors to write tests for the entire module, not just the new functionality. Am I reading that correctly?
So yeah, that was worded a little loosely, kind of on purpose. So it is the affected code. And so if, for instance, you come in and there's a function inside of a module, and that function doesn't have tests, and you update that function, we would ask that tests would be written to cover that function. Similarly, if there are other functions that are calling that function that do not have tests, then those will be deemed affected. And so the request is going to be that that code that again is affected by those changes has tests added to it. And that would mandate that the chain of components that we're working with gets tests. And I know that might be a bit of an onerous ask, but at the same time, if we're going to get on top of these bugs, we've got to be strict about bringing in tests.
Okay, fair enough. And last question, and I hope not to belabor this point too much, because I know we've talked about it a little bit before. But is there going to be a push to get to like fix some of the bugs around extensions? Like, there's the big bug that I opened that you can't install multiple extensions. There's a bunch of workarounds, but like right now, and maybe like Nick can chime in with his because he's got a lot more experience with developing extensions. But right now, the experience is less than awesome, shall we say? And with the with the focus on moving everything to extensions for 3008, that doesn't leave a ton of time to kind of get extensions in the shape that at least I think they should be.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point. And yes, that needs to be a very heavy focus. Because as you say, obviously, if we're moving things in that direction, we need to make sure that things are working as smoothly as possible.
So just to chime in on like developing extensions, we've been trying to streamline the process some. In the Salt Extensions org, there is an extension migration repository. Gareth had created a script to help pull over modules from the Salt code base into the extension. As far as the framework's concerned, the quote unquote official extension creation software was a little bit dated, and so a community member, Jean-Luc on Slack and El Cub on GitHub, has put in some effort to creating a copier template to keep a lot of the like pre-commit and Knox file and like other framework type things up to date on all of the extensions. So it should be as easy as creating a branch on a specific extension, using the copier template to update the version of the Salt extension template, and it'll update like pre-commit hook versions and things like that, and some of the core framework code. Additionally, I took some time to centralize the GitHub actions. So as it stands right now, we have some central templates that are used for like running tests during PR, and also publishing to PyPy using a SaltEXT community like service account, more or less, when versions are tagged. So right now we have a pretty good process that's starting, and we're always looking to find ways to enhance that as well. So if you have any particular feedback on any of that, definitely love to hear it.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's all I had. And yeah, I sent a note about potentially looking at joining the extensions working group. So hopefully we'll connect there, and I'll see it's been a while since I wrote the from the development side, since I've written an extension. But I know from the user side, it's still definitely a little bit on the rough side.
Okay. Thank you, Gary, by the way. It's awesome to have your questions as always. So is there anyone else? I know, Hunter, I'm watching the chat. The chat is pretty active. Hunter, are you having all of your questions answered in the chat here, or do you need to take this out to the world? Oh yeah, he's got no mic. I forget that. He's got no mic. Yeah, okay. Hunter's getting his questions answered. All right, very good. Anybody else? No? No more questions. Okay. If there are no more questions going once, going twice, thanks to all of you for showing up to Open Hour today. Shane, sir, if you would, play us out.
Well, plastic surgery used to be such a taboo subject, but now you can talk about Botox and nobody raises an eyebrow.
That wasn't even a good bad joke, man.
What?
Well, that was pretty good. I mean, I've heard it
thought it was
before, but
great.
it was still pretty good.
Oh, you've heard it. Tom's heard it before. He's seen this show, Shane. Already. That's unfortunate. All right. Well, we'll get you on the next one. All right, everybody. Thanks for attending Open Hour today. Again, our next one is going to be February 15th. In the meantime, we'll be posting this Open Hour on YouTube. Please send everyone to it if they have questions about what happened in this Open Hour. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.